Hello, Jojo. How are you?
Hello, I'm fabulous, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. And firstly, thank you so much for giving up your time to come on. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and for my own admission, I have firstly, just got out the shower, so I'm a bit red faced. We decided pre-podcast to go for a run and the gym simultaneously, so I am now paying the price for that. Also, I've been wanting to get you on for ages because I've been loving your stuff. And I've been wanting to dive into and geek out on content and social media stuff with you for ages. So thanks so much for that. For anyone in my audience who may or may not know who you are, give us a bit of background on sort of where you've been, who you help, where you're going, what's your mission, what's your business, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. So, I mean, we could be here for hours, so I'll try and cut to the chase. But I am an online business mentor and I help queens just kind of reconnect with why they got into their business in the first place. So we really look at what their vision is for their business, for their future, for their clients, how they can make the biggest impact. And just all around build a business that they're totally obsessed with. I think that's one thing that's just hugely missing in this industry. There's so many coaches that tell you how to build a bigger business and, make a shit ton of money. And really the girls that come to me, they don't want to necessarily make a shit ton of money. I mean, yeah, we get to do that too. But for us, it's the main mission is just building a big impact of what they love to teach with the people that they want to help. And I think, that's the main gig, I guess. But I used to be a fat loss coach. So I kind of came into the fat loss industry and just spent so long not understanding why people are doing things the way they're doing them. So why you had to market certain ways, why you had to kind of trick people into buying. It was there was a lot of the tactics that I just didn't sit right with me from the get-go. And so I think I very much kind of built my business against the grain, actively trying to do not even the opposite, just a different method to the way that I was seeing everyone else do it. And then, I got to a point where it started to work. It started to pay off. People were asking me how I did it. And so I started helping those people for free. And I realized that was something that just set my soul on fire, is building a business my way. And now I get to help other people do the same thing. So yeah, magical little evolution.
I love that. What really stands out to me, and this is not blowing smoke up your ass by any means. What really stands out to me is
No, go on, blow the smoke.
It's like the authentic nature of it, not because of your particular page. It's the authentic nature of that in terms of one, ethical marketing, but also it's really who you are. And we'll get into this a little bit about ideal clients and all that kind of stuff. But I think it comes before ideal clients. It's what's our ideal self? And I always describe it to clients as like a seesaw. You've got your ideal clients, but if you're too client focused and you forget about your values and your mission and all that kind of stuff, kind of tips the other way, where you become so giving that it kind of, you're not feeling good about it yourself. But if you go the other way and focus too much on yourself, you're not feeling centered, and it's like you're just doing it for a quick buck or turning clients over every month or whatever, and it becomes that weird cycle of inauthentic, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this is why, before I look at niching and ideal clients and that sort of stuff with my clients, we look at what their vision is, what their purpose is, what they want to offer the world, and who they want to be, how they want to take up space in the industry. Because I think if you look at your clients first, like you said, you're focused on taking whoever it is that's maybe they could be an ideal client for you, but your perfect clients won't be the people that you necessarily should be attracting, or they'll be the people that connect with you on a deeper level. Those are the people you love working with. Those are the people that set your soul on fire to just hang out with even. And we spend a lot of time with our clients, especially if you're a coach. You spend more time with your clients than you do with your family and friends a lot of the time. Yeah. And if you vibe with that person, if you connect with that person, if you just share the same values as your clients, you'll enjoy your business so much more. You'll enjoy teaching what you teach so much more because they value the same sort of stuff, and you'll be able to show up and sell your shit so much more, because when you're just showing up and being yourself, it sounds so fluffy because it's just be yourself and you'll get clients, but it really is that way. If you show up and you sell from a not even necessarily an inauthentic place, but if you're so focused on, I have to do this marketing tactic, or I have to do this way, or I have to show up on camera and do this, it's like it comes across on your feed and people can see through it. Like people really like connect with you when you're being yourself, and they smell it when you're not. And so if you're trying to promote your services and you're being like, oh, I need to do this, you come across like a robot. And we don't buy from robots, we don't vibe with robots, we don't connect with people that like just aren't being themselves. And so I think it's like number one is to get clear on like who you are, what your vision is, and what your like how you want to take up space in the industry, so that you can sell authentically to clients that fall in love with you and your vibe. Imagine as well, I'm off on a tangent now, but imagine as well, you get a shit ton of clients in, being somebody you are not on social media. A, you're going to hate your business, but B, those clients aren't meant for you anyway. Because when you suddenly start, I don't know, I use swearing as a really good example. I don't swear on my feed at all, mainly because my dad would disown me. Yeah. But I don't swear that often in front of like the world. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But when I'm really passionate about something, you'll catch me doing a couple of like F-bombs, and my clients get that. But if you don't swear at all on social media, if you're a big swearer in real life, when you're having a conversation with your client and they don't think that that's you, all of a sudden they feel a little bit of that distrust. They don't feel like they can connect and open up with you. And so your coaching actually suffers for it, and they don't get the results they need. So I think it's really important to be as fully yourself as you can online. And I think there's always going to be some little fine lines of, you know, how vulnerable you want to get and how much you want to share and that sort of stuff. But if you can just like connect with who you are a little bit more, and I think that takes a little bit of work in itself. I know I spent a long time like being somebody I wasn't, just because that's the way I was. Like if I meet someone, I kind of like weave my way into what I think I should be to them. So I've done a lot of the like work to really be myself again and really connect to who I actually am. But I think that's the first step for a lot of coaches that are struggling to find clients, is like figure out who you are and what you want out of this.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, and you've just articulated that way better than I could. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Ray.
One thing I always get from like new clients, I'll come in, they'll come to work with me and they'll approach me, or I'll approach whatever it is, and we've come to an agreement to work together. And I'll start scouring their social media just out of curiosity of what they've been doing. And they'll see like, for example, TikTok dancing, like the dancing around on TikTok, or the Andrew Tate style, provocative, in your face, very bullshit content. And it's just clearly not them. But they feel, because these people have gone super viral, it's like they feel compelled to do that. And it's like, and the first question I say to them is this the content you want to make? Not really. And I'm like, well, why are you making it then? It's like, it's like this, they see all this success. And I'm not going to talk about anyone else's business or anything, but some mentors will say to them, we got to be provocative in our content. We've got to like really sort of be polarizing and really poke the bear a little bit. And it's like I'm not like that. I don't want to piss anyone off, really. Like, I'll provoke some thought from time to time, maybe give an opposing view, but never where everyone's going to be like super pissed off. Well, if that's your style, then maybe okay. Like the James Smith PT style, where it's like, this is my opinion. If you don't like it, you're a C-bomb sort of thing. And it's like it's like super polarizing, and it works. But most people that I've definitely worked with, it's not in their nature to do that. Quite softly spoken, nice people, just want to help, got a good message. I've even got one guy who's like got a super boring voice, and he knows it. And I said to him, why don't you just be the boring guy? Just own that shit. If you can't fix it, feature it. Like, just go for it. You know what I mean? So he's started playing on that now. Like, I'm super boring, I know, but like, here you go. And like people responding to it, like laughing emojis in the comments, more engagements, and it's like it's actually starting to work a little bit, because he's not avoiding anything or trying to be something he's not. He's just owning his shit and being like, yeah, I'm super boring, so what? Like, and he's like, an old
100%.
An old mentor said to me, if you can't fix it, feature it. Just own it. Like,
I love that piece of advice. I think that's so true. And like, I think especially with content like that, like the kind of the sassy, the aggressive, the kind of really pointing the finger content. It's like, yeah, sure, that works to get attention, but and again, it's just asking yourself, is that the attention I want to attract? Like, I know for me and my clients, like, we want to empower our clients. We want to create a really activating, positive, empowering, and like inclusive space. And so I've learned, like, I'm never going to attack another coach directly on my feed, or another, even like, I always say kind of like argue and I guess polarize concepts rather than coaches or people or individuals, because I think when you do that, like, it never makes you look better. It always makes that person that's saying it just look like a bit of a dickhead. And again, if you want to hire a dickhead, fabulous. I don't ever want to hire someone that's going to openly slag off a client or a person on social media. It's like, that's just not what I want to be in the world of. It's like, that might work great for some other people. For me and my clients, it's definitely not my gig. So I think if you're you've got to have something that's going to encourage people to listen. And I think that it's really easy to go to those tactics to do that. You know, the polarizing content, the really aggressive kind of marketing style, because like you said, you know, people have done it and people have seen it working. And so they naturally want to jump on the bandwagon. And I think we see so much of that jumping on the trends that are like that, because it does work for a lot of people. But again, if you then if that works for you and you go viral on one of those posts, ask yourself, am I going to like being trapped in that style of content for the rest of my coaching business? For me, I don't want to do that. I don't want to risk going viral with a piece of content I'm not super sold on or I don't feel good about, just like for the benefit of that one post that goes viral that might get me a few clients that aren't right for my coaching anyway, because it's not me and my content. Yeah. And so I think that's the question to keep asking yourself, is just like, does this, like, if I gained 20 clients based on this one content piece alone, am I going to feel good about the people that are coming in? And am I going to feel good about creating content that is like that again and again and again? It's like, if it's not something you want to replicate time and time again, it's just not worth doing for you, even if it gets you, you know, 1,000 followers or 20,000 followers or 100,000 views. I just think like this whole virality concept isn't necessary to build a business. It's like, if sure, it's going to get you some exposure, and I can't say that virality isn't something that really did help me early on. Like, I did a video a couple of years ago that did go, what viral, I guess, was back then. Now it would just be like a normal person's video. But like back then it was an 11-minute video. So like unheard of on Instagram now. You would never get an 11. I don't even think you can do 11-minute videos anymore. But it was 11 minutes calling out a concept. And so again, it was that sort of polarizing thing, but it was basically just hitting the points that everybody in my audience was thinking, but wasn't saying about a specific concept. And like that, yeah, skyrocketed my initial growth. And so I can't sit here and say like, you don't want to be looking for virality. But I think especially the way that the world is right now, it's like everyone's going viral. If you're not going viral, you feel left out. But something that you've got over any other person that is going viral is the fact that you get to be super niche. You get to really speak to your perfect people and your perfect people only. And that stands you out above anyone that's kind of going outside of their box just to go viral. And so I think, yeah, if you can keep it small and you can be okay with not seeing massive numbers, it's like my content, if you looked at it outright, you'd be like, that is dead. Like nobody is watching. None of her posts, like my posts maybe get 10% of like people view it than what my actual following is, which is dog shit if you like actually analyzed it. That doesn't mean that I'm not running a successful business off the back of it. And I think we really easily correlate views and likes and comments and things like that with we directly kind of correlate that with the success of a business. But actually some of these people that are going viral with their posts still aren't doing anything about it. It's like when my post went viral, I didn't have the processes set up to even manage it. So I think like before you look at trying to go viral or anything like that, like really make sure you've got everything else covered, because there's no point in you even, like, if your video blew up right now and you got 200 people in your DMs, could you even manage that, or would you have an emotional breakdown?
Yeah,
Because I can tell you for a fact, I had the emotional breakdown. So,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like, it's finding what's right for you in that moment.
Yeah, and it's so tough because once that happens and you start to get them feelings creep in, it doesn't just polarize. It's not just the content that's polarizing. You're polarizing your own opinion of yourself almost. So it's like, I like, to give you a bit of context on the quick story. I never use views now. You'll notice this. I never use views in my marketing as like a sellable tool, because one, you don't have any control over it. So you don't know if you post a video whether it's going to have 1 million views or 10 views. Like, I've seen really amazing videos bomb, and I've seen shitty videos go through the roof, right? And I had one video, but it was super surface level piece of content. It was like, if on your phone you can tap the back of it and it'll take a screenshot. There's like a setting where you can like tap the back of it and it was a screenshot. And I just done that video, and after like a day, I think it had like 1,000 views, which at the time was like normal. And after 2 days, it had like 20,000, and then it had like 50,000, and then it had like 200,000, and it got to like 750,000, and people were like arguing in the comments and stuff. And I was like, I can't have this on my feed. My phone was buzzing every day. Like, I was like, this is like mad. I was deleting comments. I didn't want people to see it. I almost took it down, and I thought, I was like 50-50 whether to take it down. I was like, it was just super. And my brain was going like, is this good? Is this bad? I was like second guessing myself. Like, it was like, and nothing came from it. Like, it was like, I didn't get any business from it. No new clients came from it. And actually all my sort of, I call it broader value content. So it's like the deepest style stuff that isn't as viral, but more likely to hit home with someone. That's the stuff that kind of starts the conversation in the DMs, rather than the virality style content, which is, it's a gift and a curse at the same time, isn't it? Like, that viral piece of content for you.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen that piece of content, so don't know what it is. But it's probably a blessing in one way, because they got your face out there and your name out there. But on another way, it's kind of like you probably had like your mental breakdown, like you said.
Yeah, it was like not a fun time in my life. But again, it's like it luckily for me, that was very much speaking to my ideal clients at the time. And so it did serve a purpose. But I think you're so right in that the deeper posts, the posts that just make the people in your audience go, holy shit, she's really speaking to my soul there. Those are the ones that are going to get you the clients, or even just like tip people over the edge. It's like, you know, I think all different types of content serve a purpose, sure. Like those more quick ones, you know, the one that you said where it's just like a really quick, easy tip. Those are great for that visibility. And if you're getting absolutely no one seeing your shit, if nobody's even like watching your stuff, which is, by the way, a big fat lie. There are people watching whether you feel like they are or not. If they're not like, I don't know, liking your stuff or commenting, they're still watching 100%. There's going to be at least 5 people in your audience, regardless of your audience size. If you've got more than like 10 people watching your stories, you have 5 people in your audience that are going to buy from you. They just need that one post that's going to tip them over the edge. That one post is not going to be no offense, the tap example that you gave, like tapping to get a screenshot. It's like, those aren't the ones that are going to convert. The ones that are going to convert are the ones where people feel like you are speaking to them. And I think those are the posts that a lot of coaches miss, because they're so busy trying to chase the views and the likes and the, you know, shares and the funny content that connects in that way. It's like, the funny content works to get you seen or to get you noticed. But I think the deep stuff, the ones where you get a bit vulnerable, the ones where you share that you're a little bit more imperfect and human, and you talk about the struggles your clients were facing, or, you know, things like that. It's those sorts of posts that are the ones that get people's attention in your DMs. I think that's what a lot of coaches actually miss, because they're too busy focusing on all of the like outward success, right?
Totally. I'm so happy that we're agreeing on this stuff, because it's such like I always think social media content in and of itself it's everywhere now. Like, you can easily get caught in like a 20-minute scroll hole on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts easily. But it's still a very new concept. It's not like this thing that's been around for years and years and years. Like, I've been in the fitness industry now for nearly 15 years, probably over actually. I don't even know. But when I started, hiring a videographer or a photographer to take photos in the gym or putting a post out on social media, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't. It was like it just wasn't like a. I don't think photographers even had any work unless you were like a high level bodybuilder or something. It wasn't like a thing really. Now we're having to create our own content. We're having to think about this stuff, and it's not innately normal. It's a normal thing for us as content marketers, like, or default content marketers being in the online space. It's a normal thing. But for someone new getting into it, who's just a coach and just wants to coach, and all of a sudden like, oh shit, what? I've got to do 7 posts a week or 10 posts a week, and it's like, what? Like, this is like a alien concept to me that I don't really want to do, but I've got to do it. And then it's like this super uncomfortable thing. And it's, I was a PT on the gym floor for a long time, and I done no social media, like zero social media. And I basically worked off referrals the whole time. And when I actually came online and started to do video and get into this style of it, it was like, what? I've actually got to like film myself. And the first video I ever made was like how to make protein porridge. And it was filmed on my iPhone as like a selfie video. And it was, I think it's probably still on YouTube somewhere. It was fucking terrible, to be fair. But, and then after that, I was like, I'm not posting again. I'm not doing it. I got the piss taken out of me in the lads' WhatsApp group. And it was like, I can't do this. And then I kind of just made content secretly for like quite a while and just give it to clients rather than post it publicly. And then in COVID, it was like, right, I've got to do this now. But what I've seen, like, I don't know whether you've noticed this as well. It's like a shift almost of like PTs, online coaches, sort of evolving their businesses into other aspects of fitness now. And the fitness industry's changed a lot in the sense that, I was and I'm a product of this. So I was a PT online coach. I actually was doing assessing for PT apprenticeships at one point, and then evolved it into helping PTs, online coaches, gym owners, service-based business owners with video content. And it was like this sort of shift that I made. And it was like, okay, I'm probably naturally at the end of that cycle of coaching people now. This is the next level of my evolution almost, without being too woo-woo about it. And I don't know if you've noticed that over the last few years, and it was definitely since that I joined OFB, and at that point, it was definitely that thing of like, I mean, I think we can say that, can't we? Like, I don't think OFB is in existence anymore, but it was like that evolution of it. I've seen a lot of people shift into that, like mentoring, like graphic design, video, mentoring, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if you've seen that too.
Yeah, I think I think that it's a really natural progression for a lot of coaches, to be honest, because the people that did really well at especially around lockdown, when it kind of started to shift into the online space, the people that were already online were in a really positive position, because anyone that was just PTing had to dramatically shift. Whereas a lot of the people that were already online, already kind of growing their businesses, they were kind of the masters at this stuff. And so I think that a lot of the evolution has really just happened because like those people knew what they were doing. They knew what worked. They knew how to do it. And so they naturally went into kind of, so say like you started off then creating content, getting better at it. And now you help other people do that. And I think it's like, you naturally evolve into the things that you're loving doing. And I think that's what happened with me. Like I always was very like business bunny brained. Yeah. And so I think like I loved all of the kind of behind the scenes of like, what worked, what didn't, different kind of marketing tools, different ways to show up in the online space. And I think so those little natural evolutions happen over time. But I think as well, there were a lot of coaches that needed somebody to help them with that stuff. Because like you said, it's really alien when you first start. You're like, what? I've got to just speak to a phone lens, like camera lens, like weird. And it's a big mindset shift to kind of go into as well, of like just being comfortable talking to the camera or sharing your life online. I think a lot of coaches still really struggle to do that. They don't know what to share. They don't know how to share it. They don't know even things like copywriting and, writing captions isn't just the, out with my dog today, XOXO. Like it's not just that anymore. It's like you've got to be really persuasive with your copy now. And so, a lot of people who were good at the copy side of it, writing great captions or headlines or whatever, naturally get to evolve into helping other coaches do the same thing. The people that were really good at the video content naturally evolved into helping other people with video content. And so I think it's a natural evolution. I'll be honest, like I actually love it. I think there's room for us all here. I think a lot of people say that it's saturated and there's just so many of just the same shit going around now. And I think again, it's like, as long as you stay in your own lane and you do your shit and you help your people, I think there's room for everybody. And so I'm kind of loving it. I'm like, I want to know all of the people you know, because I don't have like a pocket of person I would go to for each of these different things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want to find all of these people so that I can use them for my content.
Like, yeah, 100, like a million percent agree. And you know what, Jo? Like, I know there's enough food for everyone. Everyone can eat. Like that's a given, right? So I know that if I was to get on a consultation call or a sales call with your ideal clients, there's not a chance that we would work as well together as you and that person would. There's not a chance. Because, and I would know that straight off the bat. And, you know, I mean, it's a hard thing to change someone's mind on that when your kind of salary depends on it a little bit. If someone's willing to pay a good chunk of money to, you know, mentor them. If you maybe were in a less fortunate financial situation, you were just starting out and you just wanted to sign up anyone, you probably would sign that person up. Being in the position where me and you maybe are now, we could be like, okay, maybe Joe's a better fit for you in that sense. And that's where networking comes in. That's where we can really help each other out. And I think you're totally right. There's room for everyone. And it's needed because it is foreign to people. You know, I'm speaking to people now still, and you kind of forget it, right? Like when I was PTing and fat loss coaching, I got so far into it, like years and years of doing it. And you kind of forget, don't you, that people still don't know much about fat loss. Like you just expect people to know as much as you do. And when you're a coach and you want to start online, you expect people to know about content and social media, and they don't. Like, and that's fine. And that's what mentorships are for. That's what coaching's for. And really, it's just where you were 2-3 years ago is what you're helping your girls with now. What I'm helping my clients with is just where I was 2-3 years ago. And I know that. Like, and I had this really interesting discussion. Like, if you look at the big like social media powerhouses, like Gary V or Hormozy or who's the other one there? There's a few of them. You know, if I hired them as a mentor, they're so far removed from where I am that they're so far removed that it's just unrelatable. Even though I know they could massively help me and I'd probably make a shed ton of money working with them, it's so far removed that I wouldn't like. So for me, a mentor, if I came to you, for example, and you could really help me, I would be a lot more related, but I would relate a lot more to you in that sense because you've walked that exact path that I have. You've been down that road, and you're not so far removed from where I am that we can't have a nice discussion every week like this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that actually you're so the fact that you said Hormozy, by the way, we love Hormozy. But like, I can't listen to a lot of his stuff because it goes straight over my head. I'm like, sorry, what the hell are you on about? Yeah. Especially he's very like numbers driven and I'm so not. So he'll be like, you know, ROI, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you actually on about? So I'm like, go back to his book and look at the cute little diagrams instead. Little visuals. But I think you're so right. It's like one of the mentors that I've got now, I have kind of a couple of people in my pocket. But one of the queens that I'm with now, like she's like, when I tell, she's doing multi-million-dollar years. Like she's just like crazy. She's insane. And I love it because it's activating and it's inspiring and it's like, it shows you what's possible. But she's also really good at breaking it down to where you're at in whatever timeline you're on, which I think is like really unheard of. And I don't think many people are great at doing that. So I got really lucky with, well, I mean, I've been through my fair share of mentors and I think somebody being enough steps ahead that you don't feel like you're overtaking them, but ahead enough that you can evolve with them, I think is really important. And it's hard to find that in someone. I know I've had a couple of mentors where I've kind of outgrown them really quickly. And so I think being able to have somewhere where that you're expanded is really important in a mentorship or in a coach. Having someone who gets it and can help you like walk those steps with you, I think like so important. But you're so right, like someone who's so far removed, who has no idea where you're at right now or just hasn't been there in a really long time, it's really hard to connect with that person and therefore learn from that person. Because you're right, like they do kind of skip the basics or they do kind of brush over the things that are groundbreaking for you, but totally like yeah, duh for them. And I think this is what I had when I was in my fat loss business. And I think that's largely why I like evolved out of it, because I just got to a point where I was like, I'm helping people lose fat, but I couldn't give a shit about what my body looks like anymore. Like I just got so, I'd done so much work to come out of hating my body to change my life, that I was so neutral about the whole thing that when clients would text me and say, like, I've just cried because my outfit didn't look good or something like that, I'm like, I really lost touch with how that felt. I was like, why? Like, pull yourself. Do you know what I mean? And I lost the empathy, and that was really hard for me, because those were my people. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were my absolute people. And so getting to a point where like, though, I just didn't connect in that same way with those people anymore. That's why I shifted into the mindset coaching originally, because I was like, I don't see it anymore. I don't see how someone can like detest their body. And, you know, I was there for 20 years of my life, absolutely hating every inch of my body. But once I'd gotten to a point where I was out of it and had been out of it for so long, you don't empathize in the same way that you could before. And so I think you get to naturally evolve as you do the work that you, like, you know, we teach what we know, right? And we teach what we are going through. And so I think when you've taught that, then, and you evolve, you get to teach the next thing. And so you're constantly evolving with your clients anyway. But I love that actually a lot of my clients did evolve with me. They started off coming to me for fat loss, and then they actually evolved into, okay, yeah, I really want to work on my mindset. I don't care about what the scales say anymore. I don't care about what my body looks like anymore. And so again, it's kept evolving. And soon enough, it just becomes like they get to be a perfect client for somebody else who is going to still empathize with where they're at and who is only ever a few steps ahead of them on their journey. And I think that's got to be okay. You've got to be okay to let clients go who have either outgrown you, who aren't the perfect fit for you, or who you just don't connect with on that level anymore. And I think that's a courageous as shit thing to do for yourself anyway, is to actually, you know, be okay with letting clients go. I think that's huge. Like a couple of months ago, and this is kind of going back to what you said, I can't remember what you were saying about it, but a minute ago you were kind of talking about the perfect fit for somebody else. So you're saying if you were on a consultation, that person might be perfect for me, and you know, vice versa. And I actually took on a client because he's one of my like best friends in the whole world. But I made that mistake of taking him on, even though I probably knew like we weren't really the right fit. I mean, first of all, everything's pink. And like, if you love pink and you're a guy, you get to come into my world, of course. But I knew that like, really, I you know, I work with women. I work with like women who want to feel an empowering kind of space. And I think it wasn't the right fit. I helped him kind of reconnect with what he loved about his business. So we went through, you know, the stuff that I teach with my girls, but I think I knew it wasn't the perfect fit. And then and I knew someone who was the perfect fit for him. And so when we kind of had a hard conversation with each other about how we just don't think we're not in the right place for each other. And I actually recommended this guy that I'd been thinking was a perfect fit for him. And he moved over, and he's absolutely just in love with his coaching now and in love with his business. And I think that's like, that wouldn't have happened if I'd have been bitter and wanted to hold on to him and would have tried to make it work, even though it wasn't the right fit. And so I think you've got to be okay with just letting people go, or saying no in the first place. And I think it's a, you know, brave ass thing to do, especially if you're trying to build, like if you're trying to grow and someone's willing to pay you money, like for you to say actually no, I think is huge. And will actually grow your business far more than taking that client on and them not getting the result they needed to get with you in the first place, you know?
Defo. Again, you just articulated that way better than I could. So thank you for that. Do you know what? Like, I think as you evolve and as your evolution continues, and it'll happen again in our businesses, we'll probably grow again and we'll take the next level and then next level. We're still young, like, you know, we've got years ahead of us of work, so there's no reason why it shouldn't. But your values change. Like with that, your values change. Like I remember vividly thinking when I started doing video, I started actually as a hobby, right? So I was doing like videography. I was just filming like my dog and like random stuff when I was out on the gym and stuff like that. And then I remember I was on Twitter one day and I'd seen this just random tweet of someone who was like, there's so much value in this video from Casey Neistat. He's a YouTuber. And I was like, I don't even know who this guy is, but I'm going to click it and see. And it was called Fat and Lazy. I'll send you this later. It's called Fat and Lazy, this video. And it wasn't about anyone being fat and lazy. It was about time management. And the way he articulated time management in that video, and the way he shot the video, I was hooked. I was totally enamored by this video. And I was in an absolute rabbit hole for days. And it kind of like really got me thinking. And then it kind of, that was like the sort of catalyst for me to start actually creating the content. So as I started creating the content, I started putting it out, and it was super frustrating because I knew there was tons of value in that content. I knew it. Like, if someone actually listened to that and implemented it and took action, it would really impact them, and it would really positively impact them, and I knew it. And to this day, I still stand by that. It would have, but it was super frustrating because no one was viewing it, or what I presumed is no one was viewing it. No one was liking it or commenting on it. I think my nan kind of liked it and left a comment saying, "Oh, I'm proud of you, mate."
We laugh.
Yeah. But it was one of the.
Oh, that's so cute.
But you spend like a ton of time and effort into this, into this video or this piece of content, and then it gets 2 likes or 2 views, and it's like, what am I doing wrong here? And that ultimately affects the impact you're going to have, ultimately affects your income, especially when you're starting out. So I figured out that, like, if I could help someone get more visible and not feel invisible online or offline, and get the impact that they want and make the income that they want. And this is one of my old mentor Tanya, she won't mind me saying this, said to me, it's like, if you can't be compensated for the work that you do properly, then you're not going to be able to help them tangibly, because you're going to have to go out and make money some way. So if you're not going to get paid for that thing, you're literally not going to have the time or inclination to help them anyway. And then you're not going to be in line with what you want to do and all that stuff. Really valuable piece. By the way, honourable mentions to Tanya Fowler, because I would not be sitting here now if it wasn't for her. She was amazing mentor to me. And what we said about
Agreed.
not being so far removed from where I'm at now, she's probably a few years ahead of me in terms of marketing and all that kind of stuff. But that was cool for me because I learned so much from that. And I used to really look forward to doing the sort of mentorship calls, because she just dropped some absolute gold on me, and I was like, right, that's cool. And what I liked about that as well, she gave me like 3 or 4 really just tangible things to do every week. Didn't overwhelm me. I could still go about my day, still go about my business, but I could just do these 4 things throughout the week. And it really took this big idea, this big complicated idea that I had of what I wanted to do, and it was too much. It was too overwhelming. It was hard to deliver because it was too much. And she really simplified it down and been like, just deliver that thing. And now I do.
Yeah.
And it's
100%.
I put that to her, to be fair. So big shout out, Tan, if you're watching this.
Yeah, 100%. We love you, Tan.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. That was class. So if someone was to approach you now and they had sort of no experience in that sort of mentor, like never been mentored or content marketing or social media space, but they've got these skills that they want to sort of give to the world and they want your help, what sort of tangible tips would you give them straight off the bat to really sort of kickstart themselves?
Yeah. So I think if you're completely brand new to everything, you've got no idea how to like market yourself online, how to, connect with your audience. You don't even know who your audience is to start with. I think the first thing is always, in my book anyways, to get really clear on who you are, what you want to deliver the world, and what you enjoy talking about as well. Because I think that's the blessing you've got as a blank canvas, as a total newbie, is that you get to experiment. You've got the room for Instagram to be your playground. And so you get to, try out different ways of doing things and see what sticks, see what lands. And you get to really talk about what you actually want to talk about from the get-go, because it's so easy when you're a seasoned coach or you've been doing it for a while to say, well, I've got nothing left that's a new idea. Like I've got to kind of start thinking outside of the box a little bit in terms of what my people need. But actually, they forget the basics. They forget to talk about, why going outside and getting some fresh air is really freaking important for your health. And, they forget to talk about the really simple stuff that they think is just like duh, but your clients think is completely mind-blowing. And so I think if you're brand new, you get to talk about that stuff in a really exciting way because you've never said it before. So, you know, if you've been talking about it forever, we roll our eyes when we say you've got to get your protein in, and someone says, is meringue protein? And you go, for fudge sake, like, are you joking?
Yeah.
You know, you get so much more frustrated than if you're like brand new talking about this stuff, because it's like you've said it a billion times. And I think the people, as a side note, the people that smash social media, I think James Smith even, I haven't followed him for a really long time, but like his stuff, like there's never any, well, there wasn't anyway, when he was talking about fat loss, there was never anything new. It was always just shit that he just knew how to tell in slightly different ways every time. So he was always talking about the same stuff, but from a slightly different angle. And so I think if you're brand new and not really sure where you fit in the space, experiment, play with it a little bit, find what you're actually quite naturally gifted in. There'll be certain types of content you do better than others. Like for me, being on camera at the beginning was breezy. I was like, yeah, just whip up, like put my phone on, talk about something, and then like I'm good at waffling. I don't know if you've noticed. But like some other people might be great at writing, but not very confident on camera. And so great, do carousels, do swipes, do checklists and really in-depth topics, or write a blog post, or even do a podcast where you script it out, you know, things like that. It's like find the way that you enjoy most doing it, because you're going to show up most doing it. So you've got to find the thing that you're going to show up most consistently and frequently with. And so you might as well lean into something that is, you know, the easiest, the lowest kind of barrier for entry. Yeah. So I definitely start there, but I'd get really clear first of all on like what you want out of it. So like, what's the goal with your social media? If your goal is to get visible, great, work on like, you know, putting as much content out there, going and even like collaborating, like things like this, right? Go and just ask to be on people's podcasts, like DM people. I had someone DM me the other day and be like, bitch, do you want a guest? And I was like, yes, please, let's go. It's like, it doesn't have to be deep. You get to just be like, just go and ask 10 people to be on their podcast if you want visibility. Go live every single day. Like really just throw yourself into it and just experiment and play around. If you're like, you've got people on your feed already, but you've never sold to them. I think a lot of people have just never actually sold before on their Instagram. And so if you've got people watching you, but you don't have any connections built, there's nobody kind of like saying that they want to work with you, or there's no, you know, that active lead generation, you're not really good at that sort of stuff, then start creating conversations, start creating connections, start using more, you know, interaction stickers and shit like that on your feed to like build that connection with people and show people who you are a little bit more. I think they're the good places to start if you're not getting seen by anyone, or you're getting seen by a few people, but you don't know how to kind of like funnel that into building a business from there. The main things is just like talk about what you want to talk about and start creating some connections with the people that you actually want to work with.
That's amazing. That is unreal. And this is, you know what? That's blew my mind a little bit, to be fair. And I was exactly the same. I when I started doing social media mentoring, which is like another aspect of the business now, I was getting some clients coming in, and what I thought was like a normal thing, the ideal client stuff, we'll start with that. We'll start with the ideal client, we'll do the niche, all that stuff. And they didn't have a clue. And I was like, I thought that was just like the bare basics of setting up a business. I thought that was like the first thing that you figure out. And to these people, it was my own fault for thinking that, making that assumption. It was like, oh, they don't actually know this stuff. So actually it was like a really in-depth thing. But that's massively valuable. Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, that's blew my mind a little bit, to be fair. Anyway.
Which bit's blown your mind? Tell me.
You know what? Like, right, so when you said about, we were talking about Hormozy, right? And we talked about James Smith PT, and he was able to articulate like a very simple topic, one that's been spouted by every single PT, but in a slightly different way. And it's the same with like look at like Hormozy, the way we talked about previously. He's got that thing, is like, I've got nothing to sell. Every time you see a piece of content, he's like, yeah, I'm Hormozy and I've got nothing to sell. It's like, that's his like shtick, isn't it? And with Gary V, is it like when he says, document your content, don't create it. It's like that thing of like,
yes,
it's like that thing that sticks in your head of, do you remember that old marketing thing? I can't think what it is off the top of my head now. It's like the old marketing. It's like an old marketing analogy, and it's like, there's this. So when you hear a song, for example, you associate it with a certain thing, or if you see the big golden M, it's McDonald's. Or if you see the tick, it's Just Do It. When you hear the Nike brand, it's Just Do It. Or with Michael Jordan, it's the basketball throwing in the hoop. You just associate these things, and if you can sort of articulate something like quite a complex topic in a simple way, I think people resonate with that. Like that's like what I've sort of learned about it. But yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, the way you articulate stuff is
and especially as well when you're talking. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on. No, carry on.
I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh, I can't remember what I was thinking of then. No, it's gone. Don't worry.
Lost your train of thought. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think for what you've talked about in that, and what you've told me there, and what we've just obviously discussed, it can be quite a personal journey as well. And I think the fitness industry definitely needs more people and more services like you provide, to be fair. And like you said, there's enough room for everyone. And it's not a case of like, I'm trying to scoop up all the business and make, 100K a month or whatever it is. Like, it doesn't need to be that. Everyone can win. And like, if someone's getting into that, I would say start with what matters to you. What are your values? What is the sort of purpose behind you starting this? What is your backstory, and how can you use that to help people going forward? And at that point, you can start to recognize who the ideal client is, who the people you actually want to help is, and that's when you're going to have the business where you actually love. And now, this is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It's quite a soul searching thing as well at times. I mean, I remember working with Tan, and the first thing she said to me was, "This is not going to be easy. You're going to have to really think hard about this, and it's going to challenge you mentally a lot." And I remember like really struggling at times with, not like, I wouldn't say self-doubt. Like, touch wood, I'm quite lucky in that sense that I don't have any like sort of like, I'm not going to say mental health issues or anything, but I don't doubt myself that much. If I do something, I do something. But it was like very mentally challenging for me. And that's what it should be. It should be that journey of, it's not going to be an easy thing. It's not going to be a straightforward thing. It might not be a case where you make a lot of money straight away. But if you go through that journey, like me and you have now, we've came out the other side and we can help someone, you will get to that point where you, excuse the pun, but thrive in your business.
Get it on brand.
Yeah, 100%. So
I think this is so true as well. And this is what I was going back to, actually, the thing that was my train of thought a minute ago. But when you just said, like, really getting clear on, like, why you're doing this, and, like, it might not be a super fast journey, but if you keep going back to, like, your purpose and even your values, your vision, and what you're doing this for, I think that's actually something that if you look at what you were saying with, Gary Vee saying that one thing over and over again, Hormozy saying, "I'm not here to sell you anything." It's like, actually, those people are selling you something. They're just not doing it directly to you right now, but it's all part of their brand, and it's all part of what they do and who they are, and what they're about. And I think that it's really hard to go far wrong if you constantly come back to what you actually care about. And I think this is, again, something that we get to credit Tan for showing us both this. But I think something that I teach my clients, that actually came from like me writing a sales page a couple of months ago. And I can't remember what it was, maybe the 16-word sales letter or something. But he said that each sales page has to have one belief. And so you've got to make that person believe in one thing. And I actually took that and applied that to my business. And now I teach it to my clients as well, of like, your business gets to come down to that one big belief that you have. And so, for example, mine is that, you get to build this business your way. You don't have to do it inauthentically, in a way that doesn't work for you or that doesn't feel good for you. It's like, you get to do business in a way that feels right for you, and you get to wake up every single day loving it, without the icky tactics, without the gross marketing tools. And it's like, if you can have that one thing that you believe in, it might be that fitness is for everyone. And so you might start doing memberships that are super low cost, because everybody deserves to get fit. You might start running free park runs or whatever. It's like, if you've got this one belief that you get to come back to, then everything you do is in alignment with that. And every so often you get to check in. It's like, your values, but you get to check in and go, is this directly correlating to what I believe in? And if not, you get to then course correct. And I just don't think you can go far wrong with that. It's like, it might be a slow burn. It might be a slower process. I could trick all of my clients into saying, I can get you 10K months in the next month. I can get you your next 10 clients in a day. But that's not what I believe in. And that's not what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to love your business enough that in 6, 12, 2, 3 years time, you've got a sustainable business that you want to show up for every day. It's like, that's what I do. If you want the 6-figure business in the next 6 weeks, I'm probably not your gal. Like, I'm probably, maybe in a few years time, but for right now, that's just not my thing. And so I think being able to come back to that one belief and find that for your business and your coaching, I think is really important to be able to make it in the long run. And like you said, it gets to evolve. Like mine gets to evolve, yours gets to evolve. We'll be chefs in 3 years time.
Oh yeah, when the AI robots take over.
Exactly that.
Exactly. So just quickly before we finish, I want to thank you so much for giving up your time and talking. I think anyone who consumes this content is going to find it super valuable, especially people who are just getting in or thinking about transitioning from one aspect of the business to another. If someone wants to work with you and they want to sort of check out your profile, get in contact with you, where can they find you?
So Instagram is like my main gig. So you'll find me on Instagram at Thrive with Jojo. And if you want to work with me, literally just drop me a DM and say, hey. Like I usually say I like people to just consume a shit ton of my content first so that you can get my vibe and really check that, I'm the right person for you. But feel free to come say hi on Instagram and follow me. I also have a podcast, which I'm trying to do 2 episodes a week at the moment. So we're getting a lot of content out in there. But that's the Biz Queen podcast. So I'm sure I can send you a link to that as well. But yeah, those are the 2 kind of main places where you can consume my shit, and stories are like the gig. So come say hi in my stories.
Can confirm JoJo's stories are the best on my feed at the moment. I'll put all them links.
Oh, I love you for
that. You owe me. No, I'm interested.
Yeah, I'll pay you later.
Yeah, the Stripe payments will go through shortly. Okay, so I will put all them links in the description below. So if you do want to get in contact with Jo and want to get involved in that, consume the Biz Queen podcast, all that stuff, I'll put all the links below. Jo, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all. I found that really interesting and I got a ton of value from it myself. That's kind of why I do the podcast, because it just means I can geek out a little bit for an hour. But thanks so much.
Yeah, 100%. I'll get you on my podcast as well. You'll have to come and do an episode on mine.
Okay, that'll be cool. That'll be cool anytime. I'm actually doing. I'll talk to you about this later. It's not for the podcast. Okay, so, anyway, guys, this podcast will be out sometime next week. So I will. I'll put it up on Instagram when it's out. So peace.